As we mentioned, Regina's council met yesterday. One of the items up for discussion was how the city should handle tent encampments. And last week, councillors were quizzed about the city's commitment to its environmental goals. To give us his perspective, we're joined by Mayor Chad Bachynski. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
So, Mayor, we had this on the news a little bit earlier. People may have missed it, but the city decided to create a new grassland reserve in the south part of the city. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's to be honest, it's a great opportunity for us to protect some native prairie that we have in Regina. It's a great spot for people to visit. It's an area that, to be honest, made so much sense to do, and it was great that Councillor Fro worked with partners and Councillor Zakidniak, who had worked on this prior, to bring that forward and make this happen, where we can protect these lands that ultimately development wise and that, and based on the the floodplains and that were examined, there wasn't really other uses, and so to protect it in this regard, I think was a really great thing that we were able to do.
In that area for folks is near the airport, the old Craig Golf Course. We'll have more. We'll hear from Councillor Fro on this coming up a little later in the show. I mentioned, Mayor, the city discussing tent encampment sites. There's talk of a designated encampment sites. Halifax and other cities in Canada do this. Do you think this is necessary in the city?
So I've talked about this before. Not being an expert on it, this is why I was very supportive of the referral to look at those different municipalities and jurisdiction. Do that jurisdictional scan to really understand what does that look like across Canada. What are other municipalities doing, and let's take that information and see where we can learn from, and if that's something that is would be successful in Regina to help people, because that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
What would you like to see reviewed as part of this?
I think just making sure that we're doing the right things to get people into a safe housing space, and so that's everything from our response, which is what we're ultimately talking about, and we are doing a lot of good things right now in terms of trying to coordinate people to get into shelters, to get into available supportive housing where it's available. But we know there's challenges with getting folks into available supportive housing, and housing that has the supports that people need. So there's work to be done. There's work to be done in collaboration with the province, and I think this is a great opportunity for us to just bolster up our response altogether.
And Mayor, I mentioned last week there was a meeting and the city was discussing its climate change objectives. We found that a report showed emissions are falling, but not on pace to reach the city's own goals. These precede you, of course. How important are these environmental goals that were set out by previous councils to you?
Yeah, they are important, and I always talk about Regina. We have to be a competitive municipality. We when we look across different cities, this is common. Other municipalities have climate goals, they have net zero goals, and in order for us to be competitive as a city, to be a city that demonstrates, the behaviors and the policies that people expect. We need to have these in place, and so it's good we have a baseline. We're obviously behind on some of those targets, but we need to know where we're at in order to decide how we move forward with some of these initiatives.
And you had Brett Dolter who spoke to the city council, and he was on our show a few days ago, and he did a survey of citizens that showed that most of them, a majority in favor or strongly support sustainability goals, everything from the bus fleet to retrofitting businesses, things like that. What did you learn from Brett's, presentation to council?
Yeah, I mean, it was good to get, and that's what we need, is different perspectives. We need the voice of our residents. We need to get as much information we can to make the right decisions, because ultimately we do have a finite amount of revenue that we can spend. So let's make sure we spend it in the most effective way, to be able to actually make an impact on our goals that we have in front of us.
Do you think the city runs a risk if when it comes to attracting business and other things to the city, if it's not keeping up with your counterparts across the country when it comes to environmental goals?
Yeah, for sure, it can, and that's another reason why we have a climate adaptation strategy as well, that we had approved to make sure that things like even funding's at risk if we don't have strategies and plans in place for some of these things.
The one of the things that was discussed last week was the choice over the future of the bus fleet and whether it's going to be a diesel bus potentially or electric buses. That's been postponed or pushed into the future a little bit. So there's another review. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was referred to come back to give a little more time to see if there was potentially some additional funding available, to see if if the gap could be closed between the two styles of buses. So we'll see what comes of that, before the next time that comes in front of council, and then we can make an informed decision. Ultimately, the city has to make a decision to make sure that we provide the services that we need to provide to get people around the city. And we know that more buses will ultimately get more cars off the road as well. So trying to find that balance of where's the best way that we can provide the services and reduce emissions at the same time.
And Mayor, I noticed that you're wearing some rider gear today. The city put the flag up today or this week, I should say, for the Labor Day Classic. It's expected to be over a sellout if that's possible. I know that doesn't make sense, but it's more than capacity. Let's say standing room only for seats. What's your connection to the Saskatchewan Roughriders?
Yeah, I very excited. I grew up looking forward to this game. My grandpa, he had season tickets. My grandpa and grandma. So I've been going to this game for many years. And there's a family connection. I mean, this is kind of a family thing for us that I always remember, and I'm excited. I mean, this is something that I think everybody looks forward to. This is a rivalry that is decades standing, and I encourage everybody to paint the town, paint the province green, and I think everybody's quite excited.
And Mayor, do you have a favorite Labor Day Classic memory?
Oh man. Not specifically. I think I just remember one of the things I remember is always, especially going with my grandparents to some of those games, the friends around us. There's always that community in the stands that everybody has, and that you're always high fiving after the play, booing the other team, whatever it is. But just that community aspect is really what I remember, especially growing up.
Mayor, thanks so much for joining us and enjoy the game on Sunday.